Hey everybody, this is Smith. Welcome to TaBola Journey. In this video, we're going to talk about how to go about buying a new set of tabla. This video is specifically for someone who's a beginner like me, and especially who is someone not living in India. In the previous video, I talked about how I am going on about learning how to play tabla. I've shared that I don't currently have a teacher or a guru and that I am not taking classes. So it's really this journey is going to be all about self-learning and self-teaching this, at least in the beginning. And the reason why I'm saying that is because if you're a beginner and you're thinking about buying a new tabla, but you have a teacher or you're taking classes somewhere, I would definitely recommend that you use their recommendations. But that doesn't mean that what you will hear today won't be valuable. It could still be helpful to you. So let's get into it.
Learn it slow. Once you learn it slow, you know how it's going. It has a groove.
My journey for buying tabla started at the very beginning. I'm going to just walk you through kind of the steps that I took in terms of how I was even approaching in buying that tabla, right? So I didn't really know how committed I was. I didn't know if I wanted to invest a large amount of capital into this. And so what I started to do was first to look on Facebook Marketplace to see if there's someone locally around me who might be selling a set of tabla. Though I don't think I recommend this largely, it is something that you could explore, especially if you don't want to, spend that much money. But I would definitely recommend, if you do choose to do that, go and physically look at the tabla, get to know the history of that, like how long that owner has had it, and then maybe if you feel like they look good to you, then you can get that. But again, I generally would not recommend that you do that. So from that, what I did was naturally you go on Google and you just look for tabla brands or tabla makers or tabla factories. And what I came across were, these resellers' websites, because again, they have to have their online presence. And so some of the stores that I came across were sangeetstore.com, tablasitar.com, and olldillymusic.com. They're resellers, but again, it was very confusing for me to go through their site because they have a variety of tablas. I didn't know what to buy. The other thing that you could do too is actually, you might come across Amazon.com. And honestly, I would highly recommend not buying your first set of tabla from Amazon.com. What I then did was I started doing like deep research. I really started going and doing a deep dive on tabla makers. And what I found was very interesting. What I found was that the art of making tabla is very old, and there are no factories. There are no machines that make tabla. So there's not a brand or a factory that just pumps out tabla and you can go and buy them and they have this recognition for making the best set of tabla. It's a very handmade instrument. And what's beautiful is that, music, especially classical Hindustani music, has this tradition of Guru Shishya Parampara, which means, you have a teacher, you as a student or, gain knowledge from them, and it's passed down like that. Well, come to find out is that tabla making, or any instrument making for that matter, that craft follows a similar tradition as well, where oftentimes these amazing craftsmen of these instruments, have students or they have their disciples that they pass down the knowledge of how to go about making the best set of tablas. And so tabla makers, again, oftentimes will not have the brand in a way that we might think in the 21st century, but really their name is what their brand means. So they don't have a big brand present, but again, it doesn't mean the brand doesn't exist. It just is a little different. So when I kept doing my research, some of the names that kept coming across were Akbarmiya and Sons in Hyderabad. There were Haridas Vhatkar in Mumbai, and then there was Somnath Kakade in Pune. So again, there are many more tabla makers, but these are just some of them their names that I kept coming across. Again, I'm a beginner. I don't know a ton. And so forgive me if if I'm, again, I didn't know the best, but I felt assured that they make really good quality tablas. And the confirmation that I got along with but my bunch of my research is also that oftentimes I would listen to maestros, and as I was going through these journeys, I would actually pause when I could get a good frame of their tabla, and I would zoom in and I would look for the logos, and oftentimes I would find these logos in the videos. So if these maestros are like using these instruments, I mean, that's a brand that you know they're going to be really good about. One thing that I would caution is that when you are looking for tablas online, or even tabla makers, you might come across lots of social media accounts or even YouTube channels from resellers or even tabla makers that might be average or not the best ones. So I'm not saying they're all bad. I'm saying there could be very good accounts there too, but there could be bad as well. And this is where we have to do the due diligence in order to kind of decipher what's good and what's bad, if somebody's just selling me something or if they're really about what they do in their craft. So there are some frameworks that I would suggest that you that you follow, is that you do the deep research. You got to be able to go into lots of different sites. You have to do cross references, between YouTube reviews or social media reviews or other people's unboxing or reviews or Reddit accounts. If you know people in your community or musicians, then talk to them as well to see if they know about this brand. But really it comes down to trusting your gut. Like, do you feel good about them? So out of the brands or the tabla makers that I listed out, I really felt that way about Akbarmiya and Sons in Hyderabad. And so I'm going to break down kind of what that process looked like for me. I really cared deeply about building a connection directly with a tabla maker. I didn't really want to just buy it from an online site, even though it was the accessibility and the experience as a user was so seamless, where I can just really browse some things. They generally had really good pictures of it and things like that. They had that, and it's easy for me to be able to just order, and they will just ship it to me. There's no friction in that, but I wanted to build that human connection with these tabla makers directly. And so what happened was that I decided to really lean into Akbarmiya and Sons. And so what I found was I found a phone number in a description of a YouTube video that is a 5-year-old YouTube video, mind you. And again, I'm going to shout out the YouTube channel. It's Shrikant Sir on YouTube. Thank you so much. It's been so helpful to watch your videos and your reviews of the Akbarmiya and Sons as well. You are the reasons why I even actually got in contact with them. Spoiler alert. So I took that phone number and I decided to just WhatsApp message using that phone number and say that I'm interested in buying tabla. And less than an hour later, I got a phone call, and on the other side of it was Nayeemji. So Nayeemji is the grandson of Akbarmiya, and so he's a third generation tabla maker. And here I am on a phone call with Nayeemji from Akbarmiya and Sons in Hyderabad. And on my phone call, I felt like a noob. I felt like I was asking superficial questions, but Nayeemji helped me with his humility and helpfulness nature. He really walked me through what I wanted to do. He asked me how did I know about them? I told him I'm just a beginner. I just want to learn how to play tabla. Would you be able to make tablas for me and ship it to me? What does that process look like? How long does it take? What are the different price points that I can? What are my options from that point of view? So he helped me answer all of the questions. So my process was just phone call. We did the research. I call it research, but really it was just Nayeemji from Akbarmiya and Sons and me talking it out and finding out what it is that I'm looking for and what are my options. Then came the part of me having to make the decision. So I got off the phone call. I let Nayeemji know that I would call him back. And it was up to me now to, either like just order tabla from the resellers, or do I want to actually go forward with this process with Nayeemji? And I decided to do that. I really figured out exactly the specs and the types of tabla that I wanted. It was very important. I didn't know anything about what the sound should be like because I had never put my hands on a set of tabla before. So, but from a look point of view, one could say a superficial point of view, but it's important to me. I wanted to make sure that I had a black sisham tabla, and I wanted to make sure that the dagga didn't have a silver look to it, because oftentimes it's coating, unless it's a stainless steel tabla. But I wanted to get a copper or brass tabla with its native look to it, and so I really talked with Nayeemji about that. If that's something they can help me out with, that would mean a lot to me. So then I decided, and I placed the order with Nayeemji. And then was the process of tabla making. So generally, Nayeemji told me that it takes them about 1 week to make a set of tabla. And for me, it took a little bit longer than that. I think I would say maybe 2 to 3 weeks. And the reason for that is because, again, I wanted a copper dagga with the look of copper, so it's not coated or something like that. And so Nayeemji really went out of his way to get his hands on a set of handmade, hand-hammered dagga like this. And so, Akbarmiya and Sons, if you look at their photos, if you browse through them, if you watch videos, almost all of them are, they have silver look to it. And so, Nayeemji could have just been like, no, we just sell these and this is what you get. But he was so helpful, and he wanted to make sure that I got what I wanted. And so, he helped me out with that. It took me a little longer, but after that, I made the payment, which was also, from my point of view, it was just I had to put a trust in the humanity of Nayeemji, and I felt like he would take care of me. But again, I needed to make the payment before I received anything or any kind of. There was no safety per se in that, other than just his words. So I did that, and then he made the shipment, and really within a week after he shipped, I received the package. So that was my experience of buying Akbarmiya and Sons professional set of tabla. So I'm going to close this out, right? So if as a beginner, especially if you're teaching yourself how to play tabla, I would say if you want to go towards, if you're leaning towards a route of getting in touch with tabla makers themselves, which I would highly recommend, really mainly you want to trust your gut, have a positive intent with the connections that you're going to be making, because oftentimes it might turn out that this might be a lifelong connection. Express humanity, because it's a very human experience to work with someone and have words hold importance. You're not adding to the cart and then buying a tabla. You're putting in the order, you're custom. They're making this something custom for you, and they're going to be then shipping that to you. But while you do that, trust the humanity, but at the same time, do your due diligence. So when it comes to tabla makers, this is a handcrafted craftsmanship. These tabla makers and their names really are what's behind the brand. For them, they may not have the sexiest marketing materials on the websites. They may have old websites. They may have it may be very hard for you to find contact informations. But again, just know that their work speaks for themselves. So they don't actually have to do all these kind of promotional work, right? And that's how their name is even built, and that is their brand. So do that. Remember, you're connecting with a human being, and it's especially on a common basis of your passion for tabla. This is for them. Oftentimes, this is gonna be all they do. This is their life, and so that's been my experience. That they are the most. They care deeply about their craft. They are very honest. They are very humble. And I think Nayeemji is really the example of that. He's a third generation craftsman who's gifted and honest being, and he has truly gained a lifelong customer. Akbarmiya and Son today is named Akbarmiya and Brothers because the brothers are who are continuing to carry the legacy. I hope that this video has been helpful to you. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please reach out to me and I will do my best to answer those questions. I'd also be happy to connect you to Nayeemji at Akbarmiya's and Brothers in Hyderabad if you are looking for your first set of tabla, or not your first, but just your next set of tabla as well. In the next one, we're going to unbox the Akbarmiya's tabla in 2025. So we'll see you there. Thank you.